You gotta give props to Bunny Muffins, by the way. Dragonmancer Diana? That was cool.
Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Bunny Muffins. Today we're going to go over an interesting game I played. It revolves a composition that you won't find in any tier list, and you'll see why in just a little bit. So, right at the start, we're going to pick up the Ezreal. We're going to pick up the Vladimir because I like Astrals, and Ezreal is probably the best early game item holder in the game. The reason why is because he holds both attack damage and ability power items pretty much at like pretty good strength. But we're going to hold him on the bench for now. We're going to get the Lagoons out there. So 2 Malphites and Talia. We have 2 Rods, so you always want to look for playing ability power whenever you do that. So we have a belt there, so that could be a Morello. Great Kai'Sa start, but we get an interesting Dragonmancer crest. It does give us a Kai'Sa, but when I think of playing Kai'Sa, I'm more so doing it in a Lagoon with like blue buff and Morello, and then pivoting into a Soam board. But if we do get the Dragonmancer crest, it's not gonna be the same. In this situation, if you don't want to force a particular comp, you could go for Second Wind. I only recommend Thrill the Hunt if you have a bunch of upgraded units at the start, which we did not until we saw our new shop, so I didn't want to really take that one yet. So I'm just going to drop Dragonmancer on some random person, Sejuani in this case. I'm going to go ahead and hat him. You know, sometimes hat's just fun, but maybe we should have built a Morello Namicon on Kai'Sa instead because she applies it to 3 different units, so it's really, really good. We're going to pick up the extra Sejuani, and now we have to think, whenever you take that augment, who can we put the Dragonmancer Spatula on? So the way they balance the game is with all these emblem stuff, it's always better if a different unit that's not in the original trait can use the emblem, theoretically speaking at least. Especially if it's something like Dragonmancer, where Dragonmancer really buffs up a random unit. If you have something like Jade Emblem, of course that's not going to buff anyone up, so you just put it on whoever you don't care about. But if you ever have like Assassin Spatula, Dragonmancer Spatula, Warrior Spatula, Scale Scorn Spatula, anything of that nature, you really need to find like a good carrier for it. So I've seen all sorts of Dragonmancer comps recently, and they've been really fun. So in the past, people have been doing Nunu, but Nunu got changed, so he is complete garbage right now. Don't play Dragonmancer Nunu. Maybe like 1 out of like 50 Dragonmancer games go for Nunu, but that's about it. Because you just need to hit him 3-star, and that's just really hard to do. I guess you need to hit any Dragonmancer 3-star in order to make them really work. But yeah, Nunu's just missing a lot right now. So the best Dragonmancer build, I think, is going to be a Jace build. The reason why is because he uses health and ability power just so well, because he's a semi-tank unit, but that also does damage with AP. But there's a lot of other different things you could do that are really cool. For example, I've seen Dragonmancer Gnar do really well because the ability power he gets transforms into attack damage whenever he transforms. So you always want to be reading champion abilities to know how they actually interact with ability power whenever you have the Dragonmancer Spatula. Diana is not really the best thing to do, I'll be honest. Also, you probably want something like an Infinity Edge when you do this. And the reason why is because she'll actually do quite a bit of auto attack damage while she has her shield up, shielding her throughout the fight. Because the weird thing about Diana is that she gets mana locked when she has her shield up. Most shield champions have this. So it's a little hard to take advantage of, but we're going to see how we can make it work. We have a spare belt on our bench, so I'm just going to go ahead and grab the Lee Sin, get some anti-heal with the Sunfire, and also just get our 4th Dragonmancer. So we're going into the next fight. This person's going Guild Crest. We dropped the Sunfire on Lee Sin because we're on like a mini streak right now. We have 2 wins right now, and whenever you're on a potential win streak, you probably want to spam or slam items so that you can hopefully carry that into the Krugs round. But we dropped that on Lee. This game is looking a little close. We might actually lose this one. Can Diana clutch it? See what I mean? Diana has the shield up, but now you have to wait for the shield to wear off before she loads up her new one. And because of that, we're not able to win the round. So it is a little sketchy in that sense, but it is what it is. That's just how the champion is now. That's why you don't really see any Diana 3-star carries in Scale Scorn like you did in the last set. Last set, that you could do that for parts of it before they nerfed it. So you always have to keep up with the patch notes and see what's been changing. So that's why I go over them every time they come out on my YouTube channel. So go ahead and subscribe below if you have not already. I believe they normally come out on Tuesdays, the patch notes, and then the actual thing goes live on Wednesday. So normally around Tuesday, around 4 or 5 p.m. Eastern time, I normally drop those notes. But let's go into the Krug rounds. Unlucky that we don't really have a streak going into that. Nothing's too enticing in our shop. And this person has a Lee Sin 2-star for some reason, just randomly. I want you guys to go in the comments right now and guess what place that person gets, because having a 2-star Lee Sin at this point in the game, I know his items aren't that great on Lee Sin, but it doesn't really matter because you could use it as an item holder. But go ahead, go down into the comments right now. Take out your guesses on what place that guy gets. So now we are going to see, we have a Zac, we have another chain, not the most helpful things, and a sword. Okay, that's not good at all. Maybe we need to think of other things to go into. There is the Gnar in the shop, but we don't really have the right items for Dragonmancer Gnar. If you do Dragonmancer Gnar, Runon's is incredibly good because he gets a lot of attack damage, so it just doubles your damage essentially. So Runon's is gonna multiply your damage by, I believe, 70%, and that's just a lot when you have like infinite attack speed from the Dragonmancer buff. It's not actually infinite, but it's a really large number. So we are facing a person with Bramble Vest. That's not good news for us because we do want to do some sort of critical strike things with the Dragonmancer spat, but unfortunately he's going to be a hard matchup for us in the future. So now we get into the next one. Blue Battery, great for Lee Sin. Keep in mind, whenever you get a Dragonmancer spatula, even though I said it's optimal to do something that's not part of the original trait, such as a Lee Sin or Volibear carry, you still can do it. You know, it's not the worst thing in the world. But I think here, Blue Battery gives Diana more mana, but she has so little. I would take that or Thrill of the Hunt or reroll this. But Thrill of the Hunt is not that great on Dragonmancers either because you'd rather have Celestial Blessing. I might do a video later on comparing Celestial Blessing versus Thrill of the Hunt, because the more health you have, the less effective Thrill of the Hunt is. For example, if you had 600 life, Thrill of the Hunt, the silver one that we have right now, I believe heals you for 400 health. So it would essentially heal you for 66% of your life total. If you had 1000 health, it'd only heal 40%. So the less health you have, the more efficient Thrill of the Hunt is. So on a Dragonmancer unit, you have 1 billion health or whatever, and that just means it's going to be a very low percentage. Obviously, it's not 1 billion, but you have like a couple thousand, maybe like 6,000 health. Let's go ahead and buy these extra units in our shop because we don't lose any interest gold. Always do that because you might randomly hit a 2-star in your next shop based on buying these random units. And it's even more important when you're doing a Dragonmancer comp because let's say we hit a 2-star Lilia randomly. I could just go ahead and play the 2-star Lilia, sell the Diana, and put the Dragonmancer spatula on her, because she's another unit that uses ability power and health really well. The health is good because she's a melee, and then the ability power, well, she slams the ground with her spell, so that's obviously good for her. But let's think of other units that can use the Dragonmancer spatula pretty well. Another one that comes to mind is maybe like Zac. He probably gets a huge heal on himself, and he's a great tank unit in the front. He might be a pretty good user as well. Nasus is another one that comes to mind. Maybe like a Yone could be tried as well. Yone, again, melee unit, so he uses the health really well, and his AP is great because it increases his damage. Believe it or not, Yone actually does a lot of magic damage because if you actually read his ability, like it's part of his kit. After that, maybe we could think of something a little bigger. Maybe some of the dragons can work too. So obviously, Aoshin can be done. Jace, as we talked about before, and also Shyvana. Shyvana's a pretty good holder of Dragonmancer spatula as well. So I gave you guys maybe like 5 or 6 options that you could choose from, and there are probably many more that you could try as well. Let me know if there's one that you've tried that I haven't mentioned yet. But right now we're just really looking for the Infinity Edge for Diana. I don't think we were able to get it on the last carousel because we were pretty high health, so that's a little unfortunate there. But ideal items for Dragonmancer Diana, I think, would be Dragonmancer Spatula, Infinity Edge, and Ionic Spark. And then hopefully get a healing from the augments, such as Thrill the Hunt or Celestial Blessing. If you don't have that, maybe Hextech Gunblade could be used. But I think you want the Ionic Spark because it's just so good on her, because that's the only way you'll be able to kill tanks. And then the Infinity Edge is just so that she can auto the backlines and kill them that way. We did get a Kiana too. Again, I'm not picking up Nunu's because I don't think Dragonmancer Nunu's actually that great right now. But we're going to go ahead and try to re-roll for her at level 7, most likely. If not, we could go for something like a Jace if we magically hit a bunch of Jaces, but I doubt it. It'll also depend on our health total. So we'll just see what happens. This person got Guild Zaya, so that's probably one of the best combinations. Wow, he's got Guild Zaya with Guild Heart. That's absolutely bonkers if you ever get that. Essentially, like, Guild is probably one of the highest win rate augments in the game, if not the highest. And they need to do something about that because it's been like this for 1.5 sets now. And I really hate it because the Guild Zaya comp on its own is already really good. Guild Crest in general is kind of tricky, but let's level up to level 7. We could do a few rolls. Yeah, I wanted to hit some 2-stars, either like Lee Sin 2 or Diana 2. Those are your item holders. A lot of people, when they roll down, they don't really know what they're looking for. Like, yeah, they're looking for upgrades, but if you already have your itemized units upgraded, you don't really need to upgrade that much more because your items are probably like the most important things for your power level in TFT. A lot of times the unitemized units are like completely useless. They're mainly trait bots or CC bots. So in TFT, it's very important to focus on your itemized units. So let's say you're playing like the Guild Zaya comp that we were talking about earlier, and you have the choice between running a 2-star Varus or a 1-star Zaya with, let's say, Rageblade and a Giant Slayer. Would you play the Zaya 1 or the Varus 2? Most people should actually be running the Varus 2-star instead of the Zaya, unless you have a very specific situation where you have Shyvana and Rakan as well. But now onto this augment. So Portable Forge would be pretty good for Dragonmancers. Like Radiant Relics and Portable Forge is really good for those compositions because, again, you really only care about one unit. So getting improved item is another way to really maximize whoever you Dragonmancer Spatula. So again, if you are putting a lot of stats on the unit, items are essentially multipliers. So you want to multiply big numbers. That's going to give you a better bonus than multiplying like a small or medium number. We have decent items on Diane now. We pretty much have a fake Ionic Spark on her. And the only thing I don't like is the Rabadon's Death Cap. I might remove that for something else later. Maybe a Titan's Resolve, but I'm going to slam a ZZ Rot right now. One thing that I've noticed in a lot of Dragonmancers builds is that people don't actually list out secondary or tertiary items in their Dragonmancer guides. So I'm going to tell you guys what those are right now. I love having the useless support items. So Chalice of Power, really, really good. ZZ Rot Portals, really good for fake tankiness. Sunfire Cape's good because you need some anti-heal. Same with Morello Nomicon, either or works. And then you could also do something like a Zeke's Herald. After that, Zephyrs and Shrouds are really good too if you're into that stuff. But that's pretty much it. That's like, what, 6 or 7 items that you could possibly build after you get your main core items. So if you ever have those random items sitting on your bench, it is a good idea to slam them if you know what you're going already. Alright, so we're facing the Lee Sin guy again. So for some reason, he's running the same Lee Sin still. I'm surprised he has not sold this yet. But this Terra is actually doing a lot of tankiness, or tanking right now. And we don't actually know our Diana's health, but she's about to die. Never mind, she killed the Graves. Holy cow. Notice here, I have not rolled down yet. So we have a chain. So we have a chain and a sword. So obviously, I would have liked the Shroud with the chain vest. I probably should have gotten a tier here so that you could build Protector's Vow. That's another item you could build because Protector's Vow gives resistances to people around your team. But notice how I did not roll last turn, and we're at 77 gold right now. The reason why I did not roll is because I did not want to force a reroll comp. So unless you get a lot of copies of Diana, you don't really want to just slow roll every single time you're doing a 3-cost reroll. Instead, we're going to wait till we get more Dianas before we start slow rolling, because I could always pivot into something like Jace instead because they could use very similar items. So even though we hit this extra Diana, you don't really want to commit to it until you have around 5 copies of her. So if I had one more, maybe I would consider slow rolling instead of leveling up here. Another thing with leveling up right now is that it allows us to play Scale Scorn. And that's just a really good trait for Diana because it gives her damage reduction and a little bit of bonus damage. Okay, so we do see a Jace there. I'm going to go ahead and pick him up, and I guess if we win, we could sell the Kiana. And then Riot Mort Dog, because he rigs his game, he gets ASOL 2 really early. That is crazy. Holy cow. I don't know how that happened, but yeah. ASOL 2 on stage 4-6. That is a little bonkers. Is our Diana able? No, there's no way she wins this, right? I forget if we did. But we take a little bit of a hit there. We're at 40 life. At this point, I'm in pretty much top 4 mode right now because I am just not the best items on Diana. Didn't receive that many copies of her. And then these items are a little weird as well. So we get a Chalice here and a Shroud. I guess I take this because those are kind of the items we talked about before. So I'll just build the rat items and go from there. This hat is a little troublesome because we don't really have a good user for it. But that's the thing about Dragonmancer comps. After you get your main carries items, which in this case was Dragonmancer Spatula, so you really only need 2 other ones, and then I got the Portable Forge as well. All the other items essentially just don't matter. But we're going to be rolling down here. We're going to try to get some copies of Diana. We didn't really hit that many of her, so we're a little sad now. Notice how we pick up the Jaces, but now that we have 6 of them, we might sell the Jaces, because maybe we commit to this comp now. If we did hit the Jace too, I may sell the Diana. It depends on how desperate I feel at the time, but we are also running 4 Assassins, and we don't really have Shapeshifters. But since we have 6 Dianas right now, we're going to go ahead and just commit to the comp and make the interest instead. It's always tricky to know when to all in and when not to, or when to pivot to something else, because obviously that's like a lot of what TFT is, right? Knowing when to do certain things. We're able to beat the Xayah person though. He rolled down to 0, has a pair of Xayahs, so that's lucky for us that we face them now. So we're gonna keep rolling down a bit. There's the Volibear. I want to play 6 Dragonmancer, but we don't really have, or that's the first one we got so far. I really don't think dropping a Nyla 2 for Karma and Volibear 1 is a play, so we're gonna actually just buy this Rengar and 2-star it there. This lobby's actually pretty strong. That's a Namzi 3-star. It's a very powerful unit. So did we miss the Shroud on it? Oh, we're not actually facing them. Holy cow, Olaf 3. Man, I'm the only one without the 3-star 3-cost unit. That is very unfortunate. Holy cow, we actually just destroyed the Olaf though. But you guys will see in this game, like, I feel like other people had better comps just because, like, again, we were rolling down a bunch of gold. We didn't really hit that many Dianas. So it is a little unlucky. Like, someone has ASOL 2, someone has Namzi 3, someone has Olaf 3, but we're stuck here with the Diana 2. Sometimes things in life just don't really feel that fair, but it is what it is. Right, so we're facing this person again. He ended up going with a Graves carry with dragons. I actually have not seen that before. Seems a little odd to me, to say the least. Is it a Tempest comp? Is that what he's running? That might be the case. I think he actually wins here, though, because this Graves is actually turbo smurfing somehow. And does Diana get that shield? I can't tell when she does damage. It's always really weird. She either does, like, so little damage when there's a lot of enemies around her, or she just completely demolishes a single target. So she's kind of weird in that way. But we get a Dragon Carousel. The favorite item here would probably be the Chalice of Power. Second favorite would be Zeke's, and then after that, maybe like a Ionic Spark. We're able to get the Zeke, so that's really good for us. And then we see another Diana here, so we're just gonna go all in for this because we're 2 off right now. And if we hit, we hit. If we don't, we don't. Oh, I just realized we're still stuck Lee Sin 1. That's really bad. We get the Volibear 2, so we could probably swap that out. And there's a Lee Sin 2. There's a Braum 2. And yeah. I hate this game. People hit the 3-star 3 costs like a couple rounds before. I know someone else is holding Dianas, but he only has 4 Dianas, so that's not that many, you know? That is frustrating to say the least. Okay, this guy's got Terra 2 and Shyvana 2. And I'm here with a Diana 2. And he's got an Idas 2. At least we won, you know? I don't think our items are that great on Diana, but the Black Cleaver definitely really good. I just would have preferred like an Infinity Edge. That's pretty much the only change I would make here. I haven't swapped in the Karma or the Volibear yet. I really don't know if it's best to, because Nyla is actually doing a bit of work, because she's still a 2-star 4 cost at the end of the day, right? So even just auto attacking with a 4 assassin buff probably does a bunch. We didn't position correctly for this Namzi player. I think if we went ahead and scouted and swapped sides to go onto the left against him, we probably would have won. On this item here, we get a Last Whisper. Don't really need that badly. It does help like a tiny bit because Diana does do a bunch of auto attacks, but it's nothing that monumental, you know? We're gonna roll down and we finally hit the Diana 3. Good riddance, stage 6-1 versus 5-1. Makes a lot of difference because we probably would have saved ourselves maybe 20 to 30 life. Because we lost 2 rounds during stage 5, and I'll be honest, we probably got lucky that we didn't lose more because we faced teams that were stronger than us. But somehow we won because I think we had like better positioning for some of them. And I think we faced a Ghost as well. They keep saying that Ghost should be the same power as like a real board, but historically that has not been the case. I'm not sure if they fixed every interaction, because every now and then, like, even though they say they fixed it, I see one place saying like, oh, like actually this trait still doesn't work with the Ghost board, or like that trait doesn't work with the Ghost board. So it really kind of depends. Are we able to win this one? We do? Okay. The Aesol ult, whenever he dies, it doesn't resolve, so that's one thing to keep in mind whenever you're watching the fights. Not that there's anything we could do to change it, because it's an auto battler, and in auto battlers the battles are automatic. But visually it's a little odd, because you see this giant blue circle, and yeah. Oh, the Lee Sin guy that we were talking about earlier, 1/7. Really surprising to me. This Bard ult absolutely destroyed us. I was not positioned properly for that. Do we get punished? It depends if Diana walks in the right direction. She does not. So yeah, against this person, I needed to be on the right side. So I actually make a mistake here. I pick up the Infinity Edge because I thought I still had my item remover, but I used it on my Shroud of Stillness. I wanted to item remove my Diana and put the Infinity Edge on her, but I just forgot that I used the item remover. So that's my bad. That's on me. We're going to drop in this Karma, though, because Karma gives an extra buff for the Dragonmancer. It does count duplicates. I tested it, so unless they changed it magically, it does work that way. So if you ever have extra copies of Dragonmancers and you don't know what to put in, it's always an option. I'm going to go ahead and drop my Diana over here. There's a ZZ Rot in the backline protecting the Aurelion Soul, so I didn't want to go directly towards that area. You may have noticed that I did mess up on the Chalice value, but it's not the end of the world, because if he Zoe ults his Soraka as I'm whacking on it, he's going to win anyways. And none of the other units in Dragonmancer actually matter, so that's another point to make as well. But I do believe we end up losing this one. Again, I wish we had like 20 more life or 30 more life to play this game, because everyone else hit way before us. But getting third there, not bad. All in all, decent game, but it was also fun overall. But that's going to be it from me today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this Dragonmancer Diana game, and I hope to see you guys later.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to share and subscribe, and of course smash that like button. Each like is an LP I gain before the next video.